Hi, this is Mary O'Brien. I'm the State Bicycle Pedestrian Coordinator, and today I'm going to be going over Chapter 222, Pedestrian Facilities, of the FDOT Design Manual, or FDM, from 2020. We're going to be talking about changes that have been made in between the 2019 FDM and the 2020 FDM. So first of all, in the intersections chapter or section of this chapter, 222.2.3.1, we clarify marking approaches to intersections. The new text is in red here. It states, provide crosswalk markings for all legs of a signalized intersection unless there is a documented project-specific justification not to do so, such as a physical constraint or a safety concern. So this is just a clarification as to what it is that we're looking to see with marking crosswalks. Also in the intersections section, we have removed a blue box. We also have some information about crossings exceeding 80 feet and pedestrian refuge islands. Specifically, the new text here is in red. It says, for 6-lane divided roadways or crossing distances exceeding 80 feet, consider installing a 2-stage pedestrian crossing with median refuge island. For more information on marked pedestrian crosswalks, see the Traffic Engineering Manual, or TEM, section 3.8. And the reason why we have this in here is because we know that pedestrian refuge islands are part of what the FHWA has put out called EDC 5 STEP, or Everyday Counts, Safe Transportation for Every Pedestrian. In the mid-block section of this chapter, we reference the FDM 231.3.4, or the lighting chapter's mid-block crosswalks. So this is an area talking about how best to do mid-block crosswalks. It says mid-block crosswalks are used to supplement pedestrian crossings in areas between intersections. Mid-block crosswalks should be illuminated, marked, and signed in accordance with the MUTCD, TEM section 3.8, and FDM 230.6 and FDM 231.3.4. And so that new section we added in there is just giving additional information about how best to illuminate the mid-block crosswalks. And this goes back to the EDC 5 STEP. Properly lighting pedestrian crossings is a way that data has shown helps increase pedestrian safety. In the mid-block section of this chapter, we talk about mid-block pedestrian refuge islands. The new text is at the top here in red. See figures 212.13.3 and 212.13.4 for examples of mid-block crossings with refuge islands. And so here are the images that were put together. 212 is the intersections chapter. We had a whole group working on these images, and they're meant to be conceptual. They're meant to be, if your specific project doesn't have all these elements, these hopefully will still help inform your work. They're not to scale, and they're not supposed to be copy and paste type things. They're meant to just give extra visual information to help people make or follow best practices rather. So some of the things that I'll call out that we have going on here is we've included in this image a bulb out or a curb extension, so that shortens the exposure distance for the pedestrian. In this picture, they have on-street parking, but again, if your project doesn't have on-street parking, you can still go ahead and use this to help you out. We have the stop bar placed back quite a ways from the crosswalk to help with multiple threat crashes, and that's when there's multiple lanes of traffic and one car's stopped but blocking the view of the pedestrian for the other car. Here we have a slight slant in the mid-block crossing. What that does is it engineers the pedestrian to be walking in a way that's facing oncoming traffic, and hopefully they'll be more likely to see the traffic and yield if necessary. In this next example, we have the main difference is more of a jog here for the pedestrian in the mid-block crosswalk. So that may or may not be something you want to consider for your project. What this is doing is, again, it's engineering the pedestrian to hopefully be looking at the oncoming traffic and see if there is traffic that they would want to yield to. And some of the other things that we have shown here are landscaping in the median and the setback, stop bar, things like that. Also in the mid-block section, we have some additional text here. The sidewalk median crossing through a raised median will be either depressed or raised, depending on the median width between the backs of curb, as follows. A depressed sidewalk when less than or equal to 16 feet, and then a raised sidewalk when greater than 16 feet. The width of the sidewalk for the median crossing should match the adjacent sidewalk width. See Exhibit 222-1 for more information. So this was actually in the standard plans beforehand, but we went ahead and made it into an exhibit and included it in this chapter. So this is additional information that goes along with the text on the previous slide and just providing some more visuals to explain that. In the public transit loading zone section, we removed a blue box. And we also removed a blue box in the pedestrian drop-off hazards and railings section. In the bridge, pedestrian railings and fences section, we talk about fencing on traffic railing. Specifically, the text states that the installation of fencing on traffic railing between sidewalk or shared use paths and travel lanes on limited access facilities must be approved by the state structures design engineer. So those are all the changes that happened in between the FDM's 2019 Chapter 222 on pedestrian facilities and the FDM 220. Thank you.